Alright, Shalom Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood, and I pray all you Hebrews are doing swell, and thank you for the support for you Israelites just, tuning in to the Israelite Brotherhood site, and man, I want to do this video, man, about this. Man, about the religions and how old are they and basically where they come from. You see what I'm saying? We Israelites got to get an understanding of that. I was talking to this India dude, you know what I'm saying, about his belief, and he stuck his chest out and said, I got the oldest religion. We people in India got the oldest religion on earth. And then I looked at him, you know what I'm saying, because I know better. You see what I'm saying? I looked at him because I know better. You see what I'm saying? And I said, is that right? And he said, yeah. And then I said, well, when did your religion started? Like, you know what I'm saying? Can you give me kind of idea? And he said, long time ago, he got to hollering, long time ago. Man, I said, well, can you give me a date? Because in Western culture, we got dates on recorded events and so forth. And he got to scratching his head and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I knew, you know what I'm saying, kind of right then that he don't just really know too much, man, about his religion and when it started. All he just know that it started long time ago. All these religions started long time ago. All right, and man, I'm gonna show the serpent main connection to all these religions besides what the Israelites supposed to do. You see what I'm saying? See now this is something serious. That if all these religions come about after the Israelite covenant was broken, or the Israelites was in trouble not being the representation of Almighty Yah on this planet, then something wrong. Alright, Israelites, I'm gonna do it like this. We know that Egypt and Mesopotamia, the worships, men that come from Egypt and Mesopotamia, it is straight off the serpent. That's why come they try to keep it alive, and it's kept alive, and the Mesopotamian gods in this religion are kept alive, and these was the main two sinners for the world back then. That's like, man, they got archaeological dating that is kind of like accurate, and that you can see that the religions and the temples and the structures that the people got in South America started in the ADs and so forth, and then maybe the oldest one might be about 200, about 200 BC. About 200 BC, you know what I'm saying, up in these parts, the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the little folks that was, you know what I'm saying, before then, all their religion don't go back too long. And that we Israelites had a covenant, man, that they go back, a written down covenant. We talking about a written down covenant with instructions. That we had a written down covenant and instructions that they go back to 1446 BCE. Is when we got the law. And let me look at that, you know what I'm saying, and let's get that understood. Because we got the law during Exodus time, and what I want to explain by the law, because I'm, I was talking, to an Israelite, and the Israelites swearing down that it was a bunch of covenants, before we Israelites got the written covenant and instructions from Almighty Yah. And then I'm asking the brothers, to show me this written covenant, and we can only go by Tanakh history, because that's what we Israelites got. That if you use any sources outside of Tanakh history trying to explain Israelite history, that is false, meaning incorrect. You see what I'm saying? And that it's gonna be false and incorrect. So you can't use no other history outside the Tanakh to explain Israelite history, but because it's wrong. You see what I'm saying? You just can't do that because we abandoned our heritage to some Babylonian scribes. We abandoned our heritage to some Babylonian scribes, and they're responsible for the snake culture, the serpent culture that was around the world, man, before we Israelites got the covenant. Alright, so then let's go to let me see when we can get some dating. Man, some date time on this covenant gonna be starting about Exodus time. You see what I'm saying? And then we got this down from 1800 to 1445 BCE. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna be when we got the law. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be got the law in 1445 is when we're gonna be got the law from Prophet Moses in the Creator in Mount Sinai. You see what I'm saying? We're gonna be got the law then. Because if you look at Leviticus, and then there's gonna be the laws and instructions. That's 1445 BCE. You know what I'm saying? Before that old Christian era. You know what I'm saying? We can date a lot of things based upon that. So it ain't wrong to use that because it kind of gives us an idea in a timeline that we can visualize and see. You know, so we know 1445 that, we Israelites had instructions already on how to behave. And then I want to prove that Almighty Yah only gave his law to the Israelites. He only gave his law to the Israelites, so that make all these other religions obsolete. They make all these other religions obsolete. And then that's why come they peoples ain't going through no terrible stuff for violating its rules and its regulations. There's got to be some punishment outlined in those folks' religions. You see what I'm saying? To get them to believe in their God. Well, why come ain't nobody suffering like the children of Israel suffering? Is because we dealing with the real Creator who gave real instructions to the real people who he wanted to represent him on this earth. You know what I'm saying? And we know that the earth belonged to the Creator because the Creator, created the life on it and so forth. That's already understood. All right, so then I want to show that the Creator wanted the children Israel to be the priestly nation for him, and that he didn't give his instructions to no other people. And then I'm going to explain that some other people come in and got the Israelite heritage after they ran off, and then perpetrated to be Israelites, and then all these religions sprang up all around the world. All these religions sprang up all around the world, and we could date them because the people who are responsible for developing them date them. You see what I'm saying? And they want to keep theirs is the oldest. You see what I'm saying? But we know where they got theirs from. They got theirs from us running off to do serpent culture. We ran into Africa, men to worship the serpent, just point blank. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, and they ain't no other way to put it. Is when you worshiping the Egyptian religion in this culture and stuff, that Ra, Ptah, Amen, Horus, and Isis, you ain't doing nothing but worshiping the serpent. You know what I'm saying? And we know that they got Atom and all them supposed to be, got a serpent in appearance. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at some of this, and then I'm gonna get to explaining how the Creator wanted the Israelites to be the representation of how to be here on earth. And then that's why come we all messed up in the people that govern us right now while we in captivity, because we in captivity because we was captured You know, we was captured from one place and transported to another, and we still been there, still been here. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, it's a scripture, you know, they say, why is Israel a homeborn slave? You know what I'm saying? And then that comes from us, you know, being in, you know, quite a few captivities. And went and just got immune, Stockholm syndrome. You know, Israelites got Stockholm syndrome. And that's awful, but that's just the way it is. All right, Israelites. Man, this showed that Almighty Yah wanted us to be the representation. But let me show first about that old serpent. I mean, that old serpent culture. You know what I'm saying? That's that that's God Anton, and that's one of his images and stuff. You know what I'm saying? The legend, the legend says that the Egyptian god Atum, the god of creation, had a serpent appearance as well. It is believed that Atum would shed his skin every morning. Dang, yeah, man, that tongue was showing up, you know what I'm saying, down with the serpent. And then we got, you know, the Egyptian, you know, gods, you know, serpents. And they'll show you this. They'll show you this on the wall. They got it on the wall with the Egyptian gods, serpents. You know what I'm saying? Look at your boy right there. Look at your boy right there. That's that heel. You remember in Genesis where the Creator said that he gonna bust our head, but we gonna bite, you know what I'm saying, tear his heels up, make you fall. You can't walk, you can't do nothing. Your heel messed up. You know what I'm saying? And let me show that. He told the old serpent. And the serpent just here to chastise you when you don't do Almighty Yah's will. You know what I'm saying? When the law is to keep the serpent contained and in prison. And when you don't do the law, that the serpent become uncontained and he can get around and cause mischief. And then that's what's been going on earth. You know, that's all been going on earth is because the folks who supposed to be doing the law let the serpent loose. Because we ran off into Africa to worship the serpent. Yes, we did. Whenever you go off into Egypt, mean to worship this religion, or you fooling around with Egyptian religion, you're worshiping the serpent. You're worshiping the serpent, man. I'm talking about ain't no getting around that. You know, that's understood that Atum had the appearance of a serpent, but let's look at this right here. And you know, many said this. All right. And the woman, you know, the woman said that how the serpent look, and the Elohim Yah said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent, look, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Elohim said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all. I'm totally gonna be lazy and above every beast of the field. And upon that belly shall I go, and he giving a description of how low down they is. In the dust shall thou eat all, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. See, bruise his heel. Look, you see your boy right there. Got a what? What your boy right there got? What your boy right there got? He got a heel. And what do we break the covenant for? Egyptian religion. Didn't that bruise our head? Yeah, that bruised our head. Our people still messed up right now today. Man, behind the Egyptian worship that we ran off, we paying a grievous price for worshiping the Egyptian religion. That bust our head. And I show over and over and over how we broke the covenant during the Babylonian wars to go into Africa to worship the Egyptian religion. Yes, man, serpent ain't playing. Serpent ain't playing. Serpent know that he can get us. Serpent know we can get us because all we want to do is party and play around and stuff. And that's what the Egyptian religion offered the Israelites. And we said it, you know what I'm saying, is wrote over and over and read over and over and spoke about over and over in plenty of videos, especially that Israelites broke covenant for Egyptian religion. You know, I'm explaining how we went into Africa, man, to do their religion. But you see your boy the snake, Mr. Serpent. Mr. Serpent, showing up bruised our head. All right, so we know, you know, a lot of the religions, all the religions, men before the our ancestors got the law through prophet Moses, you know, being the descendant of Jacob and Isaac and Abraham. All of them believed in Almighty Yah. And they knew the serpent culture was everywhere, all around. They didn't believe in the serpent culture. And the serpent culture dominated Mesopotamia as well as Egypt. And I just showed you in Egypt how, you know what I'm saying, the serpent men was, you know what I'm saying, in Egypt. But the serpent culture went all around, everywhere. All around the earth was dominated by the serpent culture. Even over here in the Americas, the serpent men led their culture and so forth. That's what them Israelites be saying. We was in the Americas. We was in the Americas, men, before the transatlantic slave trade. And I say y'all a lie because they had serpent worshipers here. Man, we didn't live among the serpent worshipers here in the Americas, man, that they would have got you. And then plus we had technology and so forth that you know, we could distinguish how the Israelite culture was, you know what I'm saying, compared to South American culture by biblical standards and so forth. How we had chariots with wheels, horses, domesticated animals, houses, windows, roofs, and so forth. And none of this was here, you know. And then when it did pop up, it popped up late in the game. You see what I'm saying? All right, Israelites. So we know the serpent culture was in South America. It was in Africa. It is definitely all east, and kind of like the head main two serpent places where they worship was in Babylon and Egypt. Them the main two centers, and I believe that the other serpent worshippers traveled from around the world to these two spots, mean to worship the serpent. You know, as people do now today when they go to Egypt and look through its ancient monuments and so forth, they still worshiping and paying homage to the serpent culture and so forth. All right, Israelites. So we see, man, that the serpent culture is gonna be basically around, man, before Prophet Abraham. It's been around, but Prophet Abraham making the distinction. Prophet Abraham is making the distinction and differences by him following one Yah, you know, and that young one Yah worship go all the way back to Seth. Now we know that Cain left and went to Nod. That's gonna be a pre-established place, and then how he mingle with the serpents and become part of the serpent culture, and then how that they didn't worship Almighty Yah, and that the first calling on Almighty Yah gonna be with Seth after Abel was killed, and we don't know how long after that Seth come up, but when he did, it was a Yah worship, and then Yah worship would stay in Seth lineage all the way down to Prophet Noah. And then Prophet Noah's sons, you know what I'm saying, they knew, you know, to worship Almighty Yah alone and not the serpent culture, and that they didn't have no written down instructions on this is what you do and this is what you don't do. You don't do this and you do this, and they didn't have that. They didn't have that, and that how they knew to make sacrifices men to the Creator from Seth and them making sacrifices long time ago. You remember Abel made sacrifices, the first one man to make the sacrifice to Almighty Yah with the animal. So you know it's by right that a righteous descendant or righteous lineage is gonna be Seth, and he gonna do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Let me see, man, if I can pull that up now. You know, I'm not gonna pull up all this Cain and Abel history and so forth, but you know, all right, but man, they made an offering. You know what I'm saying? They made an offering to the Creator. So this is gonna be where the believers and non-believers, you know what I'm saying, kind of like you get their roots from. Whereas one, you know, taking, you know, the worship of Almighty Yah lightly and being lazy about it, and that's gonna be Cain. Look, and Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and he said, "I have gotten me a man from the Elohim," and she again bore his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it become past that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground and offered them to the Elohim. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Elohim had respect unto Abel and of his offerings. Yeah, man. Don't nobody want no tomatoes and some fruits and vegetables when it's a good old meal with that sheep that's gonna be made. So you know he kind of respected Cain's stuff, but you know, hey man, he wanted a full course meal back then, and we know, man, that the heavenly host sit down and ate. You know, when they from somewhere else, but they, you know, kind of like us. You know, as can be showed when Prophet Abraham was walking with the Creator and the angels going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, the serpent culture. You know, the giants hadn't got into the Amorites, you know, and the Amorites was keeping on the serpent culture that spread it all around the world after Almighty Yah had drowned them out and stuff. All right. So, and Elohim said unto Cain, all right, and Cain was said unto Cain, you know, saying that his offering wasn't, and Cain was very wroth, and his conscience failed. And Elohim said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thou conscience failing? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lies at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him with wickedness. With wickedness, you can rule over, man, some folks that didn't lost the way with wickedness and so forth. And that's what Cain descendants been doing with the trinkets and the music and the dance, all of those stuff we supposed to have, you know, not been so interested in, but just to worship the Creator. All right. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it come to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. You know, slew him. And Elohim said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. See, telling that first lie. Am I my brother's keeper? Being smart mouthed too. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. Now thou art cursed from the earth, in which has opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. And then that's why I show in his videos that in Turkey, that what Cain descendants gonna be them Hittites, and how that they lived underground a long time, and they got history showing that something chased them underground and so forth. And then that'll be a reason why the folks lose their pigmentation, but they gonna get Tazarette, man, for messing with the felon angelic beings and so forth. They gonna get Tazarette from messing with the felon angelic beings. So you know that's where, you know, that old wickedness come from. And look, all right, so as you read and they go down and down and down, it ain't saying that these Cain descendants doing no worshiping the Almighty Yah, but they playing music, and then how Cain descendants then killed folks. You know what I'm saying? And then killed one man. You know, Almighty Yah put a mark on him, and it took his pigmentation. And Cain went out from the presence of the Elohim and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived. You know what I'm saying? They gonna be probably fooling with them serpents. And built the city and called the name of the city after his son Enos. All right. See, but it ain't saying nothing about how they worshiping Almighty Yah. And Lamech took man unto him 2 wives, and the name of the one was Adar, and the name of the other Zeller, and Adar bore such and such and such. All right, and his brother's name was Jubal, and he was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. And Zeller, she bore Tubal Cain, an instructor of artificer in brass and iron. You know what I'm saying? How they make them weapons and so forth. You know, and that iron stuff was passed on to the Scythians and Japhet kids and so forth. And let me say unto his wives, Adar and Zah, hear me voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto me my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. And if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech. See, all right. See, but it ain't say nothing about them worshiping Almighty Yah. Cain descendants didn't worship Almighty Yah after they left and kicked out the garden. They mad. You don't see no worship, no mention of Cain descendants worshiping Almighty Yah in this they beginning, and we know time elapsed, and that they probably ain't gonna pick up something that they didn't have. You see what I'm saying? And look, and then it even tell you this here. Look. And truly Lamech 77 folds talking about the vengeance. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Seth. For Yah said she had appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to whom also there was born a man, a son, and he called his son Enos. Then began man to call upon the name of Yah. See, we worshiping Almighty Yah from Seth descendants, you know what I'm saying, on down in Enos. So Almighty Yah name is being called upon again, whereas Cain took it out, and it wasn't there. So you know, serpent worship gonna develop strong when it ain't no Yah worship around and nobody calling on Almighty Yah. So that's where they gonna get their start from. That's where they gonna get their start from with that serpent worship. Cause we know the serpent was around. He tricked our mama Eve. All right, so then that's where that old serpent worship gonna come from. All right, now, meaning this look, meaning some of these religions. But first, I want to show that the Creator say that He want Israel to be His representatives, the holy nation. Now, you know, after we went to Egypt, you know, first prophet Abraham was believing in the Creator, and his land go all the way back, man, to prophet Noah, and then we got the recorded lineage of that, and there ain't no question about that. And so that he was a Yah worshiper, but they didn't have the written down covenant that the Israelites got, his great grandchildren. You see what I'm saying? He didn't have that. And look, and I'm gonna show y'all something that when the Eastern nations come about, we was already Yah worshipers from long time ago, that you can't put no date on Genesis and so forth, but they can put a date on when these nations sprung about, and then they kind of religions start and so forth, because the people who developed their religions are from Babylon. And I'm gonna show this. They ain't nothing but Canaanites, the Amorites. All right, look, you see this here. Look, you see this here, where it says the Canaanite culture, 2400 BC, the Canaanite control over Babylon, 2200 BC, and then look, Abraham leave the Mesopotamia area and then go towards Prophet Abraham, leave these parts, and then get on over here, man, to these parts and hang out, where he was told that he would get the the land that the serpent folks controlled. This is the Canaan. The Canaanite culture is men controlling the serpent culture. You know, Egypt never been controlling the serpent culture, but the Canaanite Amorites is basically controlling the serpent culture, and they control Babylon from Egypt, meant to Mesopotamia, the Euphrates, where we Israelites were told meant to step out them tribes and so forth, all them serpent worshippers and so forth, and we were supposed to get rid of the serpent worship by getting rid of the Amorite tribes, and we did, and so you know, Prophet Abraham come around, you know, in them parts in the 2091 BCE. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show that, you know, we was already worshiping Almighty Yah, but let's go look at the man. There's so many things I want to do. First, yeah, well, let me show that how we were supposed to be the priestly nation, and show everything related to that, and then I'm gonna go show when these religions started, so you Israelites know that you can't, you know, that Yah worship is the oldest. We the oldest worshipers. The Yah worship. It was before Judaism. Judaism come off Yah worship. You know what I'm saying? And Judaism is a religion that was created off of our heritage by the people we abandoned our heritage to. I got plenty of videos going into that. But if an Israelite go to Exodus 19:6, well, we're going to see it say this. Look. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children Israel. Now let me fill in a little history. You know, after Prophet Abraham was told, because he was a Yah worshiper, he was told to leave the Mesopotamia area and go to the land of Canaan, where he would inherit that land, and his descendants would get rid of the serpent worship. You know what I'm saying? And the serpent worship is all the religions that was created, even though they sound good and everything created after the covenant was broken. And then how Prophet Abraham descendants would get rid of the serpent worship and free the earth up. Free the earth, and how his descendants would be the representation of Almighty Yah on earth, and how everybody have to basically, you know, model they worship after the Israelites, and the laws and instructions was wrote down, and then, you know, here go, it's saying, and ye shall be unto me, this is Exodus 19:6, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children Israel. So, you know, we the only nation that Almighty Yah gon' accept as far as worship was the children of Israel. Now let's go to Psalms 147. 147. I love Psalms 147. And I said I wasn't gonna never forget it. I was looking for, and I said I ain't finna never forget this Psalms 147 no more. But because it says this, look. Yah showed this Psalms 47, 19 and 20. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as far as his judgments, they have not known them. So all around, man, before we get the law, you had to believe in Almighty Yah and basically just resist the serpent culture. And them was true believers right there, because they believing in the Creator, and they ain't got no rituals or nothing. They just know better, and they know that the serpent culture ain't right, and that it was no good. It's because they had knowledge, probably knowing that where it originally come from, where it's lost now. See, and that's one of the reasons why them Amorites got all around the world real fast after the covenant was broken. Man, they got all around the world real fast and extinguished the serpent culture. I mean, got all the books from all these little nations that they had previously been to, and took all the archives and destroyed them. So then later on in life, when people come looking and trying to find out what's going on and what those folks worshiping, how they worship, it'll be a mystery from them, with them, and then how the people who destroyed it can make up all kind of false history and sell it and so forth. They've been running that con game for a long time, and basically all the little civilizations that they done destroyed and so forth, and then how did they go back and then get the folks' history and then write up some false history about it. All them folks were serpent worshippers. All of them were serpent worshippers. Point blank, serpent worshippers. And they came from Cain descendants, mixing with the serpents, and then the Nephilims and the Amorites. And then the Amorites going all around the world, and they try to hide that. You know, they try to hide that the folks from Mesopotamia was in South America. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to know that. That's the last thing they want you to know, is that that serpent culture from South America is connected to ancient Babylon and Egypt. Yes, yes. But you see it say, Almighty Yah showeth his word unto Jacob, and his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. So the Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and all those religions, Christianity, Islam, all those religions is no good, and that they don't represent Almighty Yah will here on earth. And then how did the Israelites supposed to, represent that? And then that's why we being punished. That's why we be punished, and the other folks don't be punished really for breaking they religious codes and so forth on a whole level. Man, Almighty Yah wrath been on the Israelites for a long time. Now we done seen that. And then let me look at this other one. I think it's Amos 3:2. Let's see what that say. All right, look. Amos 3:2. Ye only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. See, and then that's why we being punished terribly above all the peoples on the face of the earth. It's because Almighty Yah gave us his will. You know what I'm saying? And we was the representation of Yah will on earth. And it's easy to see. Alright, it's easy to see. So I done showed you how scriptures say this and that, how our history go all the way back to 1445 BCE when it become written down. Now let's look at this right here. Let's take a look at this. Judaism. We see Judaism. Look, they say is an Abrahamic monotheism, but we know the prophet Abraham didn't create Judaism because he didn't get no written down law. He just believed in Almighty Yah, one Yah, and did how he didn't get the instructions on rituals and so forth as we Israelites had got. So, Prophet Abraham history is recorded. Man, let's show Prophet Abraham kicking it with the Creator real quick. I can do that. And then we're going to talk about this Judaism. All right, we're going to go to, this Genesis 18. That's not hard to remember. All right, then we're going to see what Genesis 18 do. All right. Genesis 18. All right, so we know that, Prophet Abraham was kicking it, in his tent outside Memory, and then how he didn't want to lodge in Sodom and Gomorrah like his nephew Lot did. You see, and Lot went where the felon angelic beings, children's, and then turned wicked and governed it, the serpent culture, governing stuff. And then the serpent culture is going to be everything that Almighty Yah told the Israelites not to do. So, and that's outlined in Tanakh and easily to see. But how that the Lot was kicking it where the serpent culture was and so forth. And the serpent culture consists of homosexuality, uh, uh, lesbianism, uh, uh, robbing, killing, stealing, and all that stuff go together and stuff. Just a land full of just pure chaos, about like how America is and how it functions. It's the same as how Sodom and Gomorrah was. All right, so in Genesis 18, prophet Abraham see these three men, walking by, and the Creator say He made man in His image, and we know that I could show in the book of Ezekiel how the heavenly hosts come down in some crafts, came down in some crafts. And then we got, they got proof now today showing that it's trillions of planets with suns and so forth. And that, I already explained that how Almighty Yah took possession of the earth and created life on it to govern it, and how He the master of the whole planet. He the master of the whole planet, and how we Israelites are playing out the punishment, the sequence and the punishment, showing that Almighty Yah exists, because our history is just like His words say in the Tanakh. Especially when you get down to the punishment part. Oh, it's awful. All right. Man, let me put this up and look. All right. Now let's look at this here. So we know the prophet Abraham is dealing with the Creator. They going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And then, these three entities pulled up on Prophet Abraham, and then Prophet Abraham told his wife, our mama Sarah, to go get some food for him. And then, she went in there, and then they told Prophet Abraham, while they was eating, that, hey man, you're gonna have a child. And then our mama Sarah laughed, inside. And man, they heard and understood and told her, hey, what you laughing for? We done told you that he gonna have a baby. And then she said, I ain't laughing nothing. And they say, you did. And then, she was scared. Look, therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed, oh, shall I have pleasure, my Lord, being old also? And the Elohim said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Me, Almighty Yah, read your heart real easy. Is anything too hard for the Elohim? And at the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life. And Sarah shall have a son. You know what I'm saying? And we know the prophet Isaac, come about. All right. All right. So then, as you read the three men, and the three men rose from thence and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Elohim said, shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? And seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him that he will command his children and his house after him, and they shall keep the way of the Elohim to do justice and judgment. Justice and judgment. You know what I'm saying? Doing righteous. That the Elohim may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken. And Abraham didn't have no written down instructions. You know what I'm saying? They knew to be righteous and stuff going all the way back from Seth and Enos, when they was worshiping Almighty Yah and calling on His name. They gonna know right from wrong, and not to be killing and stealing, because what Cain them did, and Cain them folks over there killing peoples and stuff, and they know about this. You see, so they gonna know not to do that. You see, so they gonna know not to do that. All right. And Elohim said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down and see. So, as they was going, Prophet Abraham asked them, man, if it's just a few folks here, is doing right, when you spare the city? And Almighty Yah said, yeah, I spare the city. And the number got from 50 all the way down to 5. And he said, if you find 5 people in Sodom and Gomorrah, would you destroy the city? And he said, I ain't gonna destroy them if it's 5 people in there. And look, man, we know that Lot, man, daughters laid with him and stuff, man, that was bad. And that Lot went and dwelled in the the unrighteous city, Sodom and Gomorrah, and so forth. And then that incident happened with his daughters, created the Moabites. You see what I'm saying? Adam, the Ammonites and the Moabites, and they was the Israelites' enemy to the end and so forth. You see what I'm saying? So man, when he had asked, is any righteous folks there? Lot was there. Look, is anything too honest? All right. And the men rose up and all right. So for I know that he will command his children. All right. And Elohim said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see what they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which have come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Elohim, and Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous and the wicked? With the wicked peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city, wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? And man, he thinking about his nephew. That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge, look, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? He talking to the creator, the judge of all the earth. He know the difference and stuff. Prophet Abraham wasn't no fool. He was smart enough not to worship serpent, coach, and follow the serpent's religion and so forth. That was about the Egyptian stuff was there when Prophet Abraham went there. All right, and the Elohim said, even if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake. And Abraham answered and said, behold, now, man, I have taken upon me to ask, man, to speak unto the Elohim, which I am but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for the lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 45, Almighty, y'all counting good. Man created the numbers. I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again and said, peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for the 40's sake. And he said unto him, oh, will not the Elohim be angry? And I will speak, and peradventure there should be 30. And he said there, he said, I would not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, behold, now I have taken up on me to speak men unto the Elohim. And he said, oh, let me not. And he said, oh, let not the Elohim be angry, and I will speak yet, but this once, peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Elohim went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. So, we know what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. It went down. You know what I'm saying? It went down. Serpent worship got it then, but they scattered and took off. I mean, took off into the hills and the Amorites. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get rid of them, and that's what we Israelites were supposed to eventually do. Get rid of the Amorite culture. All right? Now, we know that Prophet Abraham ain't getting no written down instructions, and that he believed in Almighty Yah, going all the way back from Enos when they called on Almighty Yah. You know what I'm saying? And that tradition was not broken. Judaism. All right? So we know Prophet Abraham ain't, creating a religion called Judaism. Comprising the collective religious culture, legal tradition, and civilization of the Jewish people. Now, I explained who the Jewish people is and how we Israelites are not Jewish, and how the Jewish people is going to be the Sephardic groups in Ashkenazi. Let me see if I could pull up the Jewish peoples and let you see. All right, these are the Jewish groups. Look, Jewish groups right there. Now you see what they say. Now let's say Jewish groups. Those are the Jewish groups. Ashkenazi was anciently called Scythian in ancient history, but that's Ashkenazi. And then you got the Sephardims, the Haredi, the Herodims, and the Herodes, and which is the Sephardis, Sephardic, and Sephardim, the Herodim. You know what I'm saying? I got videos explaining their history and so forth. Those are the Jewish people. And those groups come into our heritage after we abandoned the covenant for Egyptian religion during the Babylonian Wars. You know, our heritage was old and we had tore it down. It was over with. And during that time, while we was breaking the covenant is when all the other religions pop up and so forth. When we Israelites get chased out of our heritage, it's kind of like when the other religions get their start. And I'm going to show this. Man, I'm going to show this. That the serpent got another chance is all what I call it. The serpents got another chance because we Israelites broke the covenant and ran off. So the serpent folks got another chance. Yes, men got another chance. All right, let's go and let's see if I can. All right, so we know the Jewish people. We understood who they is. All right, it has its roots as an organized religion in the Middle East during the because we know that the prophet Abraham wasn't have no written down instructions like we Israelites got. And I just showed that Almighty Yah said that he only gave his law and his order to the Israelites. To the Israelites. Prophet Abraham was not an Israelite. Prophet Isaac was not an Israelite. Prophet Noah was not an Israelite. Noah from the tribe of Judah. All right. Let me see. All right. Modern, look what it says now. Man, it says modern Judaism evolved from Yahwehism. Yahwehism. That's us breaking the covenant. That's us breaking the covenant. Yahwehism. Yahwehism is us. Us. We created that. We got that from Almighty Yah. They go all the way back to Enos meant to Adam. Yahweh worship. You see what I'm saying? That's what we responsible for. And then how that Judaism come off that. And then that's gonna be after we broke the covenant. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be after we broke the covenant. Man. Let me see. All right, so we know we responsible for Yahwehism, and modern Judaism evolved from Yahwehism. Well, that's because the Israelites broke the covenant and ran into Africa to do the Egyptian religion, and the people who was in our heritage from Babylon created Judaism. And then it's gonna really get its start after the exiles was gone during that time when them folks was coming back from Babylon. They scribes was coming, and man, they got everything that we left, all the books, because we as a nation said we didn't want nothing to do with the covenant no more, and how we was going into Africa to do their religion, serpent religion. We broke the covenant for serpent religion. All right. All right, so we see Judaism, look, modern Judaism evolved off Yahwehism, the religion of ancient Israel. See, Yahwehism, the religion of ancient Israel. We ancient Israel in Judah. Look, by the late 6th century BCE, and in this considered to be one of let me see, Judaism is considered by religious Jews to be let me see, where is this? All right. Modern Jews in the religion Israel. All right. By the late 6th century BCE, and it's considered to be one of the. So Judaism gonna start after the exiles. You know what I'm saying? Get destroyed. You know what I'm saying? And they telling you, look, by the 6th century. You know what I'm saying? It's when the Judaism get its start, and they start, organizing on what they was gonna do with our heritage. So we see when Judaism start, you know what I'm saying? And Judaism is the all the books and a lot of it, you know what I'm saying, went on all the way to the 80 days, 10th AD, century and so forth, man, because they rabbis and so forth. It's rolling right now, Judaism, but it come off Yahwehism when we Israelites broke the covenant during the Babylonian wars for Egyptian religion. Let me read that so you Israelites will know that too. Now, I done read it, man. It's probably been read, the most read scripture in the whole Tanakh, man, that I read all the time. I'm talking about in just about every other video this get in. Alright. Now this us going to do the serpent worship. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto this, Jeremiah 44, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelled in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. That's the serpent. And as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals and were well and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have been consumed by the sword and by famine. And when we burnt unto the Queen of Heaven and pour out drink offerings unto her, did we make our cakes? Yeah, man, we was all messed up. We was all messed up on serpent worship. It was serpent worship. You know, serpent worship, you know, that's what the Egyptians did, even though it morphed into other gods and images and figures. It's going to come off the serpent worship. And that's what we Israelites did. But we see how Judaism started the 600 the 6 BCE, in 600 BCE, and then that's, you know, that ain't no good. All right, now we're gonna look at Zoroastrianism, and then we're gonna see when that come about. You know what I'm saying? Now Zoroastrianism, let me explain Zoroastrianism. This is what happened, that Assyria control over ancient Babylon. The Assyrians who helped us get destroyed, they control over ancient Babylon. They control over ancient Babylon, kind of like kept the serpent man religion kind of like man contained. They was profiting off of it and pimping it. And then, you know, when they got destroyed, man, it kind of like let the the Babylonian scribes, get loose, and the Babylonian scribes went to they other like little spot called Bactria. It's in Afghanistan. It's one of the reasons why they keep Afghanistan bombed and tore up, because that's where the Eastern nations get its start, like Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, and all those religions gonna come from the Babylonian scribes that was in Bactria. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why the Greeks hurry up and took it over, as well as taking Babylon over, because, you know, the Greeks and you know what I'm saying, all of them tried to keep the tradition of the serpent going, which rolled over to today, because we know the Greeks passed it. The Babylonians gave it to the Greeks, and the Greeks gave it to the Romans, and then the Romans culture all the way over here. So serpent culture still going on. Serpent culture is going on under these religions and so forth. These different religions that was created after covenant, but they had went to Bactria when the Persians, man, busted them up and stuff. and destroyed Babylon, and then they gonna go there. But by the time the Persians got it, the Scythians had already got it and got the serpent culture and got it intact and took off with it. And then how did the Persians, you know what I'm saying, they got whooped by them Greeks and them Scythians and so forth with that serpent culture. And then how did they destroyed men the Persians, and then how that, you know, while the Persians men destroyed Babylon, men that freed us, men them scribes took off to all these points. Them Babylonian scribes, the serpent scribes. You know what I'm saying? And they will create them religions. And like I showed y'all that our worship Almighty Yah documented, written down with instructions, go all the way back to 1445 BCE. But you see Zoroastrianism, look, Zoroastrianism, man, and as you get in, they gonna tell you when that mess was created. Let's see, I had it marked. All right, Zoroastrianism, all right, with possible roots dating back to the second millennium. The Zoroastrianism entered recorded history around the middle of the 6th century BC. And now see, Judaism is around that time. Look, you see, Zoroastrianism, man, is around that time. Look, and it served as a state religion of the ancient Iranian Empire. They're gonna be Persia, but that's Zoroastrianism. It's get its time started the same time Judaism gets started. All right, now let's go to the Hindus. Let's go to the Hindu and see. Look, Hinduism, it is an Indian religion, and then that's gonna come off the Zoroastrianism and so forth. Gonna be its main component. And then, like I say, the Babylonian scribes went east and then developed the Eastern nations' history in their religions. See, and then I explained the proxy war that Ashkenazi got going on with the Eastern nation, the East and the West nations. I got videos explaining that. But look here, all right, so we see Zoroastrianism and Hinduism, Judaism started in 6th century BC. And now let's go get some sight on when this mess started, all right? The Burmism and all of those stuff, all right? Let me see. This Hindu systems emerged after the Vedic period between 500 and 200 BCE. See, all that's the same time that the other ones and then got they started. All that's the same time that the other ones then got they started. 600 BC, look, 600 BCE. That's when they got they started. Hinduism, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, and Hinduism, all in the same era. Now, ain't that suspicious? Ain't that suspicious? Now, let's go look at Buddhism. When Buddhism get its start, all of them gonna start around the same time. All of them started at the same time because the Babylonian scribes was kicked out around about that time from ancient Babylon, and then they ain't gonna just stay there if they place getting destroyed. They gonna flee to some places where they can be comfortable at, and then going east makes sense. Well, me and them folks slow, meaning green and so forth. All right, now look, here it is again. Look, Buddhism. Look, you see Buddhism. All right. Look, between the 6th and 4th century BCE, the same thing. All of them started, men around about the 6th century BCE. Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, Buddhism, all those Eastern religions started about that time. Our heritage was old already. We would have already broke covenant. When these folks got their religion, we was already broke covenant going into Africa to be cooked. We done now. But you see how those religions come about much later on. Alright, Israelites, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I done proved, man, that them religions come much later on. You know what I'm saying? Way much later on. And let me show this. I wanted to show this to how the how the Chinese culture, man, was connected to Babylon from Bactria. From Bactria, you know what I'm saying? They was connected to Babylon from Bactria, and then I can show that when those nations got started, the Chinese dynasty, man, Prophet Abraham was already worshiping Almighty Yah, man, before them folks even, was worshiping anything. All right, look, you see this? Look, you see Prophet Abraham leave Mesopotamia. So he was 175 years old. So he was probably pretty up in age during this time. Look, Abraham leaves Mesopotamia. So we see the timeline. That's 2091. All right. So then look, Confucianism. I ain't gonna leave him out. Man, Confucianism, look, Chinese philosopher. Man, Confucius, look, around about that 600 BCE, the same era as all the rest of them. That's the Chinese philosopher. Now, they gonna be then got his teachings and stuff from them Babylonian scribes. They ain't gonna tell you, but man, Confucius considered himself a transmitter of culture values inherited from the Zai. And look, the Zai was, Prophet Abraham was already worshiping. Look, we was already worshiping. We was already Yah worshipers. Mean when the Chinese civilization first empire gets started, we was already Yah worshipers. Look, you see that 2070? Look at Prophet Abraham, 2091. We was already Yah worshipers. And then look at God, you know what I'm saying? We was already Yah worshipers, and we was fighting the serpent culture during that time. Look, the Shang dynasty. And then the Shang dynasty, man, was created when we Israelites was having our problems in Egypt and so forth, and we had already had a written law. You see what I'm saying? But we got the written law during the Shang dynasty creation. All right, and then the Western Zhou dynasty. We already breaking covenant and through. After King David's death, it was downhill from there. We was already down here when these folks, a civilization get good and started, and then they go all, you know what I'm saying? We already in Africa gone and stuff when these folks started their religion and get their religion going. You see what I'm saying? We was already gone. But you see, man, Confucianism, he the same as when the other ones got they started and stuff around the same time and in the same era. Our heritage, Yah worship, is older than all that mess what they do. And we can't worship none of their religions. If any Israelite run to these folks' religion, something wrong with you. And then we know Christianity and Islam, Judaism, Christianity and Islam, all those religions come after the covenant was broke. I ain't even got to pull Christianity and Islam up because they real new to the worship and stuff. All right, Israelites, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I pray that everybody learned something from this video and so forth. And man, I just pray it ain't gonna just be a long time, man, before we get a spot, man, and we can do this and eat and talk and do everything together. Shalom, Israelites. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood, and I pray that everybody is doing well. Shalom, Hebrews. Much love to the Israelite Brotherhood family.